connect, serve, and grow is what you can expect at the House of Reconciliation. Leadership, community, education, wellness, and participation is part of our plan for your spiritual growth and success. Family and faith is a core value for the House of Reconciliation, working to help people find their purpose. Want to make an impact in the kingdom? Ready to tap into your future? Meet us at the House.
Good afternoon and welcome into the Greenwood campus. We're here in Greenwood. I want to thank all of you that are in person as well as those that are watching from the Greenville campus and of course to our virtual campus. Want to give a special follow-up to the numbers have picked up in the area of Clinton, South Carolina, Malden, South Carolina. So thank you all for chiming in and becoming participants and followers. Hopefully you will go to the website www.houseofreconciliation.org and join our virtual campus. That is free. And also want to speak to those that are in Charlotte as well as Spartanburg. The numbers there have increased for our virtual campus, and you can do the same thing, www.houseofreconciliation.org. You can join the free virtual campus. We thank you, and for all of our virtual campus members who are supporting and those that are following and watching, who are contributing financially as well as liking, sharing, and posting. We do thank you for your time and your considerations. Just a couple housekeeping things. We have the community college day pre-Halloween that is this Saturday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We do have free food. We have games for the kids, the young adults, as well as I don't know if we have anything for the old folks, but I don't want to put nothing out there because we ain't got no wheelchair race. So I don't know. We could probably have one because we have a couple. But I'm just trying to make sure we cover all the bases. The food will last as long as first come, first serve. It's one plate per person, so you can't come get 10 and then take them to your crew. This is for on-site. We thank all of those that are participating. We're looking for some young college students from Erskine, as well as Piedmont Tech, as well as Lander University, as well as Newberry College, as well as Presbyterian College. So please don't hesitate to hashtag them. If you know anybody there, let them know what'll be happening Saturday at 210 Pansy Road, Hodges, South Carolina. That would be from 11 a.m. I think we're going to have music, fun, and a lot of activities for the community. It would be a pre-Halloween, so there would be candy that'll be given out for the kids, because I think the next couple of weeks there's a lot going on. The weather's changing a little bit. So we do thank all of you. Part of our virtual campus, we will be in Canton, Ohio, the latter clause of this month. We'll get to see my first virtual campus member, Brother Ray Simmons out of Columbus, Ohio. He will be with us in Canton, Ohio. So we do have a promo up. Please like it, share it, post it, share it with your friends, because it is the part that I deal with is going to be finances. So I know a lot of people have been watching and asking questions, and I am considering doing a private class on budgeting. But here this evening we're going to talk briefly about stacking money. And I think a lot of times people have the wrong perception of stacking money. There's no need of having more money to do more things that don't bring money. Money that you have should bring you more than what it has. Simple thought. Whatever was your last 3 purchases, what's the value of them today? Did you pay more than what they were worth? Are they worth anything now? Because to stack money, you have to understand the philosophy of money. So a couple things we hear. I don't have my tablet. I've been in meetings all day, but I'm just going to give you some things that are going to be across the board that will give you some level of insight. First of all, in order to really, truthfully stack money, you have to have 3 things in line. And most people don't have one of them in line. And I was with a group, I'm not going to say where, but was here recently. And the audience literally was a little disturbed with me. And people don't understand why I give a disclaimer in the beginning. What I will share with you is not what you're accustomed to hearing. It will kind of rub you the wrong way. It will make you think. But then after they got past the lump in their throat, Then they wanted to embrace the information. I don't understand how people fight knowledge that can make them better. I don't get it. Many people see it as negativity. They see it as you putting them down. And here's the first thing about stacking money that you need to understand. No one knows it all. But there are certain principles out there that people are using that's outweighing what you've heard on the corner in your community and what you think. All of my information is always from data that is gathered that turns into data that I can share with you. It's always factual. It's never my personal opinion. I can promise you, I don't have the time to sit up here and broadcast across the world to give you my personal opinion and to try to have a level of influence on you. That's not my desire. My desire, as I said, is to worship God and to educate his people. And one of the key things that people do not understand, and this is why I had conflict with another group, was they didn't understand what I was saying. They didn't like what I was saying, so then they couldn't receive what I was saying. And by the time I finished, they all wanted something. Well, let me tell you something about stacking money. If you're going to have real money doesn't come off of free advice. I've had so many people to ask me, I don't want to pay nobody, but I want you to give it to me. So why would I give you the threads of something that can make you $100,000 and I still sit over here with what I have? And I don't know if we can do this, but there's a scripture in the Bible where the Bible says that Jesse, the father of David, saddled David upon an ass, and that is in the Bible, with bread and wine, and sent him to the king Solomon. So if anybody can find that, Google that. And I didn't understand it until Bishop Jakes taught it. He said, people always want something for free. And of course, King Saul had everything. But out of respect, they sent their best. So I'm going to share with you some things, but there's some things you cannot get unless you're in person, unless you're going to be a part of a group that wants to really get their budget aligned. And there are 3 things that you have to do. You can get this advice. I don't mind giving it to you, but I can promise you probably only 40% of it's going to work. The other 60% is tied up in the 3 elements. And those 3 elements are simple. When you're talking about really stacking money, your body is an instrument. If your body and your mind are not aligned together, let me give you a quick example of that. My body wants sugar, but my mind says it will mess with my blood sugar levels. But my body wants something sweet. But my blood sugar levels will determine my energy levels. If I give in to my body, I will struggle with my blood sugar levels. That's the difference between the body and the mind. The spirit, which is supposed to be aligned with God, that is number 3. The spirit, we all have our own way of doing things, and it appears to be right because the Bible says all the ways of a man are good in his own eyes. So if I cheat you and I rob you and I make money, I feel good. Don't say you don't, you know you do. But was I fair with you? See, the Spirit of the Lord balances the person, that they also know they want to eat and they want to build a future, but it's not healthy to rob you either. You should have something for you. So if our body, mind, and spirit is not aligned with each other and God, then we're always going to have a crack in our vessel. That's why you have so much, I think the correct word, I might be killing it, is philanthropy. That's why so many people give money away, because how they got it and how they took advantage of some things, now they want to kind of check their conscience. You can avoid all that. So we talk about stacking money. I'm going to give you, first of all, I'm going to read a few things. I was with a group today. Okay, so here it is. And please send me that. That's 1 Samuel 16 and 20 in the Message Bible. Okay. So please send that to me. You can take it back up because I'm going to move on. because I never knew that until Bishop Jakes was teaching, I think it was the 10 how to work in a hostile environment. And he said, you don't ever go ask somebody for something that they can give you seeds to make your life better, and you just say, hey, how you doing, thank you, and run on. That's disrespecting the knowledge people have. And it isn't the activity that make you that make you wealthy, as it is the knowledge. And see, most people fall out with people because a lot of people watch this program and tuning into this program because they want a fast way to make fast money. And a fast way to make fast money mean a way that you will spend the money real fast and you will not gain anything from it. And that's why most people front yards are full of junkyard cars, and they got a lot of stuff. They got a lot of stuff but don't have a lot of money, because we're not balanced in the three core areas of life that we need to be: our body, our mind, and our spirit. And they must align with God. Go to Romans 12, 1 and 2. But I'm going to share a couple things with you before I give you some specific details. And mind you, we only have 14 minutes together. So if you're going to get something to drink, go get it now and come on back. I was talking on a business venture today, and the average person that I know doesn't have $50,000 to $150,000 in cash. But right now, there's a float in the market where people are bidding on houses. Now, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this to be offensive. There are those that are struggling day to day, and then there are those that are working and wind up struggling day to day. And then there are those that are able to do what they want. And what I want to do is share with you some of the difference, but one thing I'm going to give you is the methodology of the thought that they use. They have a dog. One of the most cancerous type dogs in the world. I won't call the breed's name, but you can look it up. And they're wanting to sell their house, and they are actually in a bidding war on 5 houses. And today I was meeting with them on some business, and they were saying that you have 10 minutes to put in all your information and you get a number. And then when the company or whatever pulls the number up, you have 5 minutes to pull all your information in. But before you can even begin, you have to put up $50,000 to $150,000. Now, let me make this real plain. This is in the area of Florida. The house is not even 2,000 square feet. And they're getting ready to pay $650,000 for a house that has a little bit more of a backyard for their dog. And the thing they shared with me, that if they don't get all their information in time, they lose the $50,000 or $100,000 that they put up. And mind you, they have 6 bids in place right now and have lost every one of them. I'm going to ask you a question about stacking money. If you don't have that kind of money, why are you spending money? Why are you spending money? Here is this. 19 million people right now were waiting in a surge of extension for taxpayers from the IRS to extend the deadline. Others are worried at last-minute tax changes that could have come from Congress to absorb the taxes. And yet, they are not prepared today. 19 million people were looking for a tax extension. And the tax deadline for most states was October the 15th. And you don't need a budgeting class, and you don't like budgets. Then you got the other group who are going to, on January the 1st, not even get their W-2, take their last paycheck, and go get their tax refund and be broke in 10 days. But you want me to teach you how to stack money without teaching you money principles? I mean, really. And then let's talk about the buy now and pay later. Y'all know about those? Can I give you an example? Right now, anybody can go out and purchase a car. You know what the average years to pay on the car are now? 8 years. They tell you, don't worry about the amount of the car. Don't worry about the interest. And listen, people, and I don't know what it is right now, but a year ago, people who had credit scores of 800 to buy a used car was at over 7 and 8%. So what could it be for a person who don't have exceptional credit? And you go purchase a car and don't get gap insurance on it because you don't want to pay an extra 50 cents a month. But you want me to teach you how to stack money. And you have the audacity to be mad at me because I'm trying to share with you from a dude who was homeless and broke and turned his life around, that people came to me today and offered me, I can't even say the amount, for my house, my other house. They did. You know what? You know. I told them if I can't bill it and have extra in my pocket, like my friend over here, who become the, what do they call him? The outstanding employee of the year, outstanding, you know. What's the use of selling it? What am I saying? The reason I'm trying to teach you to stack money is because when you get money, you get stupid. Yes, I said it. You don't like it, turn it down. This is to help people who are tired. Let me make it plain. Can I get, I only got a few minutes because 7:15 I got to be done. Can I go ahead and bust the bubble? None of y'all should be spending money, eating out, or really buying anything until after March 31st. The only thing you should buy is for Easter. I know that didn't go over well. Go ahead and ask me why. Can I be honest with you? I don't want to say that because somebody will get mad. Okay, let me give you the sophisticated way. I see you laughing in the back. Right now, somebody got a calculator, but we don't really need a calculator because I can tell you the numbers. Right now, everything you're purchasing besides paying in a convenience store, 35 to 45% over cost. That's the norm in a convenience store. A drugstore is anywhere from 27 to 35% over its original cost. If you're going to buy diamonds and want to get engaged, especially when Thanksgiving roll around and, oh, he went here and you're paying over $22,000 in percentages over what the diamond actually costs. If we are in the middle and headed to a recession and everything has an additional 8.2 plus percentage on it, why would you be paying and buying anything right now? You know why? You don't have the behavior. So they know that you're going to keep the economy alive. And when it get cold and your company starts to slow down and you're only working 3 days a week, you're going to be the one in the cold with all those shoes and dresses and hats and mail units and mailing wigs and fingernails and all that stuff in the closet. And here's what you're going to wake up and say. Man, it's rough. No, you fix it and prepare it before it gets rough. I was thinking about doing something at one of my properties, and I said, oh, what's wrong with you? It's going to cost me 15% more than what it normally would cost. So I said, I'm not about to do nothing. I'm going to ask you a question. Why are you spending money? Oh, don't think I ain't got it. This finna get hot now. Why are you spending money? Why did you go to the store today? Why are you not cooking at home? This is a time to Google and YouTube everything. Well, baby, I'm cooking tonight. What we gonna have? We not having meat. We having vegetables. And so I'm gonna cook. Yeah, I see the little fella like that. We ain't got no meat. I'm used to every time I sit down, I want some meat on my plate. There may come a time it may not be no meat on your plate. Because if Europe is struggling, Asia is struggling, you don't think, what y'all Americans, y'all? So the average 4 people in the house, a male, his companion, and 2 kids, their average right now with inflation is paying $680 to $1,200 additional dollars a month. Can I say it like I want to? Where the hell that money coming from? Y'all single people ought to be glad. You know, and I know the philosophy, 2 people, we got 2 incomes. No, you don't. You got 2 debts. Because if your one income could take care of all your bills, you probably wouldn't have got married. Now, ain't never look away. Nobody won't say nothing about that. Let's look up all over. But you got married because you thought you had help. But you didn't see that 85% of debt that they had. Anybody want? Let me do this. Y'all ready to listen? As the old church would say, now that I have your attention. So nobody want to answer why you're spending money? You should be only spending money that you need to spend. And if you're fortunate to get some overtime, that overtime should go 2 places. I want you to write this down. You need an E-fund. I'm going to give you that one. But before you get an E-fund, if you don't have, and I'll tell you what an E-fund is, if you don't have enough coming in, I just want to know how you're going to make it. Because we don't have a church line here anymore. You're not calling us in the church, can they pay your light bill? Because who's going to pay ours? Oh, I know somebody mad on that one. I just can't be how the church don't help people. As a friend of mine, he called me today and he said, he told his family, they buried their mother, this bishop did, and he said, y'all didn't even go to her appreciation, and she didn't charge y'all nothing for the funeral? And you wouldn't even go? And I know this is going to piss some people off, but I'm going to say this. Stop giving stuff to people for free. If they won't pay for it, if you give it to them for free, the majority of them, not all, won't take care of it. Bishop Jace taught me this. The best thing you can give a person is a strategy. Don't give them your money. Go ahead and ask me why. If they didn't do right by theirs, how they going to do right by yours? Didn't you work for yours? I know somebody going to have, well, that's my child. That is your child, but you're going to be broke with that grown child. Because, see, it'd be a fight in my front yard. You're going to take my money and then talk back to me? We finna cut up in this front yard. And I got enough money to get me out. I ain't getting you out. I'm going to leave you in there, and I'm going to tell them, put all kind of stuff on your record. I'm going to tell them you pull my hair out and everything. I'm going to tell them you knock my tooth out, all that. Look at the difference. Shopping online. I'm going to ask you a question. You can keep this up. When have you made an investment in you? And how much of your money do you continue to give away? I'm going to give you the stacking money. First of all, balance your body, mind, and spirit. Ask me what that equals to. Quality of life. Just not today, but tomorrow. Because people who feel the inflation are generally the working class people. What do they call it? The lower class, the middle class, and the upper class. The upper class and the rich and the wealthy, they don't feel it. Inflation, the poor don't even feel inflation. It's the lower class. It's the working class people. Here's the thing, stacking money. Put me back on. Now, you see this guy sitting on the couch and you see this person shopping online. What's the next slide? Okay. Here's what you should do. Now, write this down. If you get $100 bill, what should you do with it? Nobody has an answer. If you get $100 bill, don't you spend it. Put it in an envelope. Put the envelope, if you got people in your house, put it in a safe deposit box. Put it in an envelope and put it up. Don't count it. Do not break another $100 bill. You know why? You'll never see it again. Don't break a 50. You know why? It'll never come back together. 2 20s and a 10 don't make a 50, even though it adds up to it. But when you have that 50, you look at it differently. You take 100, you take a 50, and you put them in an envelope, and you put them up, and you don't count them. If you get one for doing something extra, whatever, now don't do nothing strange for no change now, okay? If you get one, put it up. Do not open it and just keep putting it in there until Easter Sunday. Y'all don't believe me, do you? What are you saying? Nobody's going to save for you but you. All right? What's the next slide? Here's where we're failing. You see how many nuts this little squirrel has? I'm going to give you this on October the 18th, and some will get it and some won't. Everybody needs to create multiple streams of income. This is your season to start creating multiple streams of income, because when he said in the Bible, "O slugger, go to the ant and learn her ways." When it started in August, ants started digging tunnels underground and bringing food until spring come next year. The average person does not have 1 month of money to hold them over. Nobody's going to save that money but you. We're in a crunch, and they're saying we're in a pre-recession. It's gonna be so tight that you can't help yourself, so how can you help someone else? We need to now start figuring out how to create multiple streams of income. Here is number one thing you must learn. Learn to manage your time. Learn to manage your time. Ask me why. Time is money. Many people are watching TV, doing things, celebrating, and they're not learning. Here's the other thing you got to do. Now, this is serious. Create multiple streams of income, number one. Number two, learn to manage your time. Number three, skill up your education and skill sets. Money is time. If you're going to learn, get paid for learning and have learning pay you back. Number four, put a plan in place now. Quit worrying and talking to people who are just talking. The squirrel is by himself. He's gathering his nuts. So no matter whether it's cold, rainy, sunny, whatever, he is covered. He is prepared. He can have a mate. She can have a mate, because they have what the average person doesn't have, and that's any kind of reserve funding. Put a plan in place and stick to it. The next one is start removing negative people from around you. Get away from negative environments. Don't go to the mall. What business do you have in the mall? When you lose your job, the mall will still be open. Can I give you one stream of income? Start taking that stuff you got in the closet that don't fit no more. Take it to a consignment shop. all them 60 pair of shoes men and women have? Take it to a consignment shop and let them pay you something back. And you will be shocked when you get checks in the mail. I don't want nobody to prophesy to me about no check coming in the mail. If I ain't putting nothing out, how can something come in? You plant nothing, you reap nothing. Start removing negative people from your life and your environment. Learn from the ant and the squirrel. We must plan for your future. A future without a plan is an empty dream and is called the walking dead. Buying right now is not the time. And let me go back to the story right here, and I'm getting ready to close, and I'm going to give you what the E fund is. When I talk to these people, they have maybe $8 to $12 million in cash. And they're trying to pay $650,000 to $750,000 for a house that's not even 2,000 square foot in Florida, so their dog can have a backyard. And every bid that they put in, if they don't time it right, they lose $50,000. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think they worried about the economy? Can I tell you a little bit more about them? They have 35 rental properties. The retiree of this year turned around, and probably she was the sole principal of her business, and she brought in partners and they sold it to a hedge fund. So you can imagine what her parachute retirement was. Why are we and you trying to compete with people when you're not in their class? And if we stay on the present road we won't even be in a class. Now, do you want to know what the E fund is? The first thing right now on the 18th of October that every person needs to have, whether you're married or single, is an emergency fund. That is the E fund. Let me tell you, because right now the average 4-person home is paying $680 to $1,200 more a month just for the basic fundamentals of life. If your job, if my job goes away, what will sustain you in tough times? Will you go back to the squirrel that had the nuts underneath? What have you put in reserve? Let me explain this to you before I go. What does an emergency fund do? An emergency fund, they say right now, if it's one person, they would need at least $2,500. If you have kids that are under teenage age and you have a spouse, male or female, you can add really another $2,500 to that. Now let me explain something to you. That's only for 1 month. Let me explain this to you. If you have a home, I want you to learn how to start valuing your home. What do you mean? Right now in the homeowners market, because interest rates are so high, people are saying this is what's happening. A bidding war with each other often leads to people wanting to waive the home inspection. You know why? Because if the home is inspected and something is found wrong, it devalues the loan, even when people are paying in cash. These particular people that I was talking to today, they want to pay cash for a home. And even the people with cash and those that have credit are both struggling. Everybody is running from higher interest rates, but interest rates are not curtailing inflation. So every extra thing that you buy, you may as well say to yourself right now, I'm getting ready to pay 2 times for what this costs right now. 2 times. So if it's $4, get ready to pay $8. If it's $8, get ready to pay $16. Here's the problem. Ask the market, and I talked to some people, and they was like, well, you know, I want to sell my house and make, but then I want the market to go down so I can buy a house. Stop. That's not going to happen. It doesn't happen that quick. You can't sell your house for $1 million and then go buy the same kind of house or a bigger house for less than $1 million. It's going to be way more. We have to get real about our finances. So what you need to do, let me give you this in an E-fund. And this is what I'm going to help in Greenville on tomorrow. I want you to do this. Add up all your bills, not tonight. Write down everybody you pay. Cell phone bill, insurance, taxes, da-da-da-da-da-da. Then I don't want you to write over on the right column your gross, because that's a lie. You need to write your net. And I want you to write this on the top of it. If I lose my job, how do I handle everything that's on the left? This will help you start looking at creating multiple streams of income. And remember, 19 million people were looking for Congress to create a last-minute tax exemption for a lot of things. And that didn't happen. And it doesn't matter if you're in Europe, Asia, or America. Right now, we have a global crisis. But many people are acting as though he or she are immune. And if you only have one job, I'm going to say this, then you're at risk. And so what you do, and let me break it down real quick. If you are making $10 to $12 an hour, you can find that pretty much anywhere. If you are making $16 to $24 an hour, I always tell people to be cautioned, because if you don't have any skill certification and you get laid off, you go back to General Assembly, which is down to $10 to $12 an hour, and no one's going to pay you. The reason you make what you make is because most of the time you've been there for a minute. And I know people are starting out, but let me teach you about people starting out. People with a lot of money right now, $18, $20 an hour, they're not getting 40 hours a week. It's just like certain fast food restaurants pay people $15 an hour, but they only can work 15 hours a week. So you need to get the whole story. What you need is, when you add up those bills on the left, now you need to start. And if you're fortunate and you make it through, by March the 31st, you should have at least 4 months worth of emergency fund in case anything happened to you, your spouse, or your children. Because sometimes you don't always get, what is it, LMA from your job? They deny it. And if you don't have the reserves to make your mortgage, because an emergency fund has at least 3 months worth of mortgage, 3 months worth of car payments. Now, if you don't have multiple streams of income, how are you going to get that out of one paycheck? So I go back to my original question. Why are any of us going out and be buying food and eating? We are immune to the crisis that we're living in. I know somebody gonna be he said, I can't even go by the drive-through. I was going to get me a biggie. I was going to tell him the biggie size. But am I making sense? Am I making sense? Every person, don't depend on your spouse, don't depend on your brother, don't depend on your sister, don't depend on who's in the house with you. Every person needs to have at least 3 to 4 months worth, and that is emergency income. Now, emergency fund. And if you don't need it by March, I'll show you what to do with it. This is not the time to go buy a car. Anybody want? This is a time to sit on your money. If you are investing, this is when the stock market has crashed and you can get it real cheap, but it ain't cheap. It ain't. It's looking bad. And so the thing that people say is, let the bottom fall out before you buy. See, if you buy it at $70 a share and you think, and it was at 100, and you think you made it, what happens if it dropped to $20 a share? So if I say anything, you see how the squirrel has those nuts. This is the time, and this is the month, and the beginning of fourth quarter, to start thinking of how can I create multiple streams of income, male or female. Right now, most people have more clothes and more name brand things in their closet, male or female. You need to take some of that stuff to a consignment shop and get some money. Because ain't no worse than somebody looking good and broke too. Y'all been fooled by that person too? Girl, he fine. And now you're mad. What happened, girl? He asked me to buy dinner. Girl, I said no. But you don't look at them 200 text messages that you were sending them. And if you're going out to eat with people, before you go in, you make sure everybody got their money. Because I got a guy that got me not too long ago. He said, yeah, you get me. I'll get you next time. I hadn't seen him since June. And probably not see him. And he was a preacher. This is the worst ones, you right? Yeah, man, you get me this time, I'll get you the next time. I hadn't seen that joker since June. I almost said something else. And I got a lot of people. He got me like that. And I'm like, all right, bro, I got you. I'll never do that again. I'll be like, no, you better pay your half before you leave. Because, real friends don't leave other friends hanging. God bless y'all. I'll see y'all soon.